It's time for ROTD Weekend.
I am back from my trip to Toronto. Yes, I have one of those back from vacation colds. You're just going to have to bear with me. So I'm back from Toronto where Marty, me and my kids met up with my parents. And I have to say, one of my favorite things, other than all of us being together, was visiting the tourist attraction Little Canada. If ever you do a Canadian trip to a few different places, or if you've already been to a few different places, or if you're Canadian, it's a must-see. It sounds so simple and maybe even boring. Canadian regions done in miniature, tiny people, tiny trees, small buildings, but it's so much more than that. As you look over a scene, you pause and look at it, you start to see so many intricate little details. Simple things like there's flower baskets hanging from the lampposts in the Niagara-on-the-Lake area, or when you're in Quebec, there's maple syrup in little strips in the snow, so you can make them into little maple syrup popsicles. So many familiar little touches. But then you look even closer and there are so many Easter eggs, little items that are either out of place or very, very in place or just funny. For example, Marty spotted a little man in a red and white striped shirt with thick glasses. And yes, it was Where is Waldo? We were pretty sure it was him. We had to go ask. And then we asked the question that the teenagers working there told us they get asked several times a day. Is there only one Waldo in Little Canada, or are there more? And there's just one. How perfect. And you get to find him, What else? There was a Jack Skellington on a snow-topped roof, totally out of place in historic Quebec, but so perfect for my teen daughter who loves the Nightmare Before Christmas movie. Just that kind of thing. And the thing that brought a tear to my eye, which if you grew up in Canada in the 80s, you will totally get, and if you didn't, you won't. But over in the British Columbia display, the Log Driver's Waltz is playing, and when you look closely, there's a little log driver on a little log in a red hat with his pokey stick, and on the edge of the water are the three parish girls from this cartoon that played on TV all the time. I'll link to the Log Driver's vignette in the show notes so you can see all the nostalgia that it brought me. It was just exactly so perfect, that tiny little detail. So the day after we got back to Florida, I was making up our go-to steak bowl dinner. I know I tell you about it all the time. We love it so much. And I'm chopping all the veggies and it hit me. Little Canada. Not the place, but the feeling. Tiny little things, simple things coming together to make something that would delight any person anywhere. Tiny buildings, tiny trees, tiny people waiting for tiny buses, all built with such care and stitched together like a big map, one piece at a time. It feels like nothing, but when you step back, it's amazing. And when you look close, it's magic. And that's what I realized our steak bowl dinner is. I'm shredding the cheese and seasoning the steak, chopping the tomatoes, putting out the tortilla chips, simple things, grocery store basics that I buy without even looking at a recipe or a meal plan. But everyone at the table gets to build their own bowl, their own little version. There's something crunchy or something creamy, some lime squeezed on there, maybe too much hot sauce. Maybe I got some cilantro this time. And just like in Little Canada, there's something for everyone. As a meal, it's steak bowls, a full complete dish. I can write it on the meal plan as a thing. Steak bowls in big letters. But when you look closer, it's a simple little mix of all kinds of things. And in that mix, there's something for everyone. And that little something makes everyone happy. And it's just so true. Sometimes the best things, the meals, the memories, the little cities aren't complicated. They're just built with love and with all those little caring details that let each person be seen one little piece at a time. And now, in the theme of people doing little things that make everyone happy, today I'm speaking with the special diet pastry chef, Rommel Reyes. Rommel specializes in creating recipes for baked goods that people with special diets can eat, in particular gluten-free and dairy-free diets. And he has a new ebook out, 15 Shades of Banana Bread. So fun. Listen now to my conversation with special diet pastry chef, Rommel Reyes. Hello, Rommel. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Christine. Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's
here.
great. It's great to speak with you. So tell us first where you are right now, because I just love it.
Yeah, I'm basically in Helsinki now. I'm based here, although I go around big cities in Europe, like Paris, for example, is my second like home, kind of. But I'm based here in Helsinki, so our summer is pretty mild here.
Yeah, compared to where I am in Florida. Yes, absolutely. So you go to Paris quite often. What are you doing when you go there?
Since I studied there, so I have a lot of association in there. So I also have, by the way, I studied pastry there in one of the most prestigious pastry school. It's the École Villeroy Conseil. And I studied there in 2012, so long ago. And after that, I had a lot of like colleagues there. They're working in different pastry places in there, like my classmates when I was in school. And then so when I go to Paris, then I have to visit all those pastry shops. And so, so it's kind of like, looking what's going on in the pastry. And, Paris is known for their beautiful pastries and cakes and stuff like that. So that's always like a mission. If for example, if I go there for like any time of the year, and then of course that has to be on the list of what to do.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm envious. I'm curious if you've noticed anything new that's trending or showing up in the pastries in Paris lately?
Lately, like 2 months ago, I was there. Actually, have you heard about the Dubai chocolate?
No, I don't think so.
So it's quite famous, actually. It's everywhere, like exploding everywhere from YouTube and TikTok. It's not that new, but it was last year, but until now it's still quite popular. So a lot of pastry shops, like especially chocolate shops in Paris, they're trying to sell those. So what is it? It's just like a chocolate bar, which has this, it's like a dough. It's like a pastry dough. It's like a noodles.
Oh.
It's like a vermicelli.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And then they roast it with butter, and then they crumple it and then mix it with the pistachio paste. And then that's going to be inside the chocolate bar. And then, and that's simple as that. But for some reason, it's quite popular. And now it's popular in Paris too. I was expecting that.
Wow. Well, it sounds fascinating. I've put it on my list of things to go look for. So
it's everywhere. It's exploded in the internet. So you could probably like Google it quickly, and there's a lot.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm so terrible. I post my videos and things on social media, and I look at like my friends and what's going on, and I don't go and see everything else. I need to get sucked into the algorithm a little bit more often, right?
Yes, that's the latest trend now. And of course, those macarons is everywhere in Paris. So, one of my favorite pastry to make, actually.
They're really fun to make, right?
Yeah, it is. It's actually, a lot of bakers actually said that it's difficult to make, but actually it's not if you understand the science behind it. Well, it's kind of like maybe the understanding of how it works and how it bakes with relation to the temperature of the oven and the drying. That might, require some understanding, but actually the whole process is not that difficult.
I've never tried it. I have friends who do it. I've seen people's homemade macaron before, but I've never tried. They're so pretty. Have you noticed any new flavors showing up in the last little while?
Like macarons?
Yeah.
I went to La Jurée as well. Last time I was there, last 2 months ago. So I went to, if you know what La Jurée is, it's one of the, it's a famous brand for macarons everywhere. I think there's one in New York. I think in Florida there's one as well. Toronto. They're all over in Asia as well. And so one of the flavors that I really like is this. It's a tea from their collection, because they're also selling teas and lots of other stuff. So the tea is called Marie Antoinette.
Oh.
Marie Antoinette, the French. Was it the wife of Napoleon, right? If I'm correct. So it's named after her. Actually, the tea is a black tea, and it's infused with the rose and I think some orange zest, I think. And so they make that like a feeling of the macarons, and it was really interesting. I like it a lot. I might probably do a copycat of it and put it in my blog.
Oh yeah, no, that sounds delicious. I love tea as a flavor. I do some things with like an Earl Grey kind of tea
Yeah.
every now and then. It's just beautiful.
Yes, it is. Earl Grey is also a good
Yeah.
flavor for dessert, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, really, really nice. So you're making, you're thinking about doing a copycat of those, but you for your site, I'm assuming, but your site is a gluten-free and dairy-free
Yeah.
pastries, right?
Yeah.
Are macaron both gluten-free and dairy-free?
It's supposed to be gluten free because
Okay.
it doesn't have flour in it. It's only made with the meringue, like egg whites, almonds, and icing sugar. But not necessarily dairy free because of the cream and the ganache that you put in the
Mm-hmm.
filling. Yeah, but it has to be gluten free if you don't add something to it, like with wheat or something.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. So it's gluten-free for
And
sure.
also, yeah.
And then
But
you
it
can
can
do,
also be very easy to make dairy-free version of it. Now you can buy like dairy-free cream and milk,
Mhm.
chocolate as well. So it's not that difficult.
Right. No, no,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So can you tell
Mhm.
me why you decided to switch to dairy-free and gluten-free for yourself?
Yeah. So it started in 2016, by the way. I didn't know that I have these intolerances with lactose and gluten, but I actually experimented myself because in 2016 I was like I always have this feeling that I feel tired when I eat a lot, like bread and stuff like that, anything with flour or something. But I just like I said, okay, maybe it's just like my body, or I'm not feeling well today. But then I started to say, okay, why I'm always like tired when I'm eating only gluten or bread or something. Otherwise, if I ate like a sweet potato or other carbs, it's fine. And so then I started to experiment on myself and I said, okay, let me skip gluten for a week and let's see. Then I did that and then it's totally gone. I don't have those kind of like bloating or brain fog, for example. It's one of those actually. But then I wasn't convinced with that. So I didn't switch back to eating again. Like, okay, let's see. Then I make myself like a guinea pig, if you you say so like that. So, and then I went back to eating gluten again for the week. And then there it goes again, like, bloating and, headache and brain fog, for example. So I said, okay, so there's something here. But then I went to the doctor and they said that you don't really have that kind of thing. So maybe it's just psychological or something. I don't really believe in it. I said, I know my body well. So I can feel when I eat something with gluten, it makes my stomach like upset or something. And then so then I just follow it. I didn't follow the doctor's actual recommendation to just still eat. And then with regards to the lactose, I also did that experiment because then I started to when I also noticed that if I drink a lot of milk or I eat some cheese, I also have this kind of discomfort with the stomach. So although not severe as with gluten, but then I started to do experimenting same way that I did with the gluten. And then I said, okay, I think this is not for me. And so after 2 months, now I remember it was like June. No, I started experimenting April, and then June I started to like totally not eating them. And then from that point, I said, okay, I don't have those kind of things anymore. So energy level has tripled, no bloating, no brain fog. And so what can I do? I mean, the doctor would probably disagree, but I know myself better. So, he
Yeah.
cannot disagree with that. And I also researched about it, that there's a lot of people actually, they don't know that they have problems with gluten and lactose. And so that they were just thinking, okay, maybe it's just like, gases or something. But actually, they might have something with that. And one thing also I researched is that actually it's not the gluten itself that's only to be blamed. It's also the baking industry, because now the flour compared to like 30 years ago, they actually fortified the flour. Now they're adding more gluten to it. And I don't know what they add there to make it more like so that it can produce more and more bread, like with high quality or something, like maybe the chewiness of stuff. And so that I think associates it with some of these allergies and the tolerances.
Yeah. No. It's interesting, but you're right. You if you know yourself and you have to trust yourself, and if you feel better when you're not eating these things, then you run into this problem where you have to change your recipes and come up with variations. So over these years as a pastry chef, trained pastry chef, and changing in these ways, have you come up with any tips, techniques, swaps that people might find useful?
Yeah. Let me start first when I start to shift, because I was trained in like a classical baking, French baking with lots of butter and cream in it. So in 2016, it wasn't the non-dairy alternatives. It's not so popular yet. Although in Northern Europe, here in Finland, we have some of those oat milk already and stuff like that. But if you get, even in France, during that time, there's not much of it. So it's so difficult. So what I did is I actually started experimenting here in Northern Europe, because because during that time, they already have those lactose-free milk. We have oat milk here. Oat milk is from Sweden, by the way.
Oh.
The Oatly. Have you heard about Oatly?
No.
It's quite famous in the US as well. So the first experimentation I have, like adapting this recipe, for example, with a simple cake, if you bake and you need milk. So I did use the oat milk at Oatly. That actually I was surprisingly good, that one. And then when it comes to giving tips on how to, let's say, make the recipe like dairy free or gluten free, I think you just have to swap. I think if the recipe is not so complicated, like if it's only like a sponge cake, you can just swap it with the gluten-free flour that you can buy in the shop. And when it comes to the dairy, then you can use this oat milk, and there's also almond milks. I wouldn't recommend those. The cashew, I think cashew has a strong flavor, and if you flavor it with a sponge cake, it will affect the taste. So I think oat and soy, I think, is the best one to replace milk.
And do they chemically work the same way? They're pretty much interchangeable. Yeah.
Yes, basically all those recipes that I made before when I was like doing the normal pastry, I just adopted. But of course, when it comes to egg, it's different. If you want to veganize for example. So it's a bit different, and it doesn't work the same way.
What about butter? What do you use, like pastries that call for butter? Do you have a go-to?
Yes, there is already margarine actually. There is some margarine that is for baking. Yes, you can replace it. But then nowadays there's a lot actually of really, really good flavored vegan butter. In Europe we have here, it's called Naturally Black, the vegan black. I would say that tastes even better than the real one.
Oh.
And also the ingredients is like more natural. It's not like, lots of different oils that is a lot of saturated fats. But this one, they use really healthy fats like almond oil and cashew, I think. So, and in a way, it tastes really good.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll have to look for what we have here, because that would be a really nice, even how is it for like spreading on bread? Is it
It's good. It melts well. It's like the buttery taste. It's there. I think in the US, I remember you have Kite Hill. I think Kite Hill is one of the brands, and then there's this. What was the name? They're selling it in Amazon actually.
Oh.
So now there's a lot of alternatives actually.
Yeah. No, it's definitely. I know it has gotten a lot easier in the last. Well, since you started almost 10 years ago with this, but even in the last few years, it's more and more, and people changing their diets for health reasons, or like you have, but also just because it's just as good, but it's more natural. It is not, almost plant based for all sorts of reasons. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
And also, I have to say this, that actually it doesn't mean that it's gluten free or dairy free that it's healthy. No.
True.
That's also one thing. That's also one thing that we need to understand, because a lot of people say that, okay, it's gluten-free, it's dairy-free, it's vegan, it's healthy. Not really. It depends on what you put in it. Yes.
That's true. You can still have a lot of sugar in something. Yeah, for sure. Rommel, have you brought a recipe to tell me about today?
Yes, I have.
Yes. What is it?
This is actually like the easiest dessert that you can serve.
Oh.
Like you can eat after dinner. It's actually chocolate mousse.
Ooh, I love, I don't have the hugest sweet tooth, but I love chocolate mousse.
Yeah. So it's 2 ingredients. It's just chocolate and the heavy cream.
Oh, so like a ganache, but you're going to tell me where do you start to make this?
Yeah, I told you that this recipe, you don't need a written recipe on it, because you can just keep it into your mind. What's the ratio between chocolate the whipped cream, and the heavy cream. So basically, there's just two ingredients in there, because the heavy cream you just whip the other half, and the other one you have to melt it with the chocolate.
Oh.
So that's as easy as that one. Yeah. And then that's the easiest one. But I think some of the recipes you can find online, they put a lot of eggs or whatever, butter. Actually, that's not necessary, because chocolate itself is already rich. It's a lot of fats in there already, sugar, and it has emulsifier as well. So eggs is not important. So it's just whipped cream, heavy cream, and a good chocolate. That's very important. A good chocolate, dark chocolate, which is at least 70% cocoa content.
A good chocolate. And then are you starting basically making like a ganache? You're heating? Yeah. What is the ratio?
Yeah, so for the dark chocolate ganache, because the white chocolate and the milk chocolate has different ratio. That's because of the fat content. So let's start first with the dark chocolate. The ratio for it: 1 part chocolate, 1 part heavy cream, and 1 part whipped cream.
Are you doing it by weight? So one.
Yeah, by weight. Yeah.
So you're weight. Yeah. Okay. Weighing the cream. Gotcha.
1:1:1. Basically.
Wow, that's so simple.
That's so easy to remember, right?
Yeah.
So it's just you make a ganache with the heavy cream and the dark chocolate. You melt them together, and then the whipped cream you just fold it. But there's a technique of folding in it. You have to fold it in 2 batches. So the reason for that is that the whipped cream you have to divide it into 2. The first half you have to fold it on the ganache, like until they will be like homogeneous.
So do you add the whipped cream to the ganache, or you pour the ganache over the whipped cream, or does it matter?
So 1 chocolate and then 1 heavy cream, right? You make a ganache out of it. So just melt chocolate with the ganache.
But then when you're adding, you're going to add half of your whipped cream. Do you add the whipped cream to the chocolate, or the chocolate to the whipped cream? Or does it matter?
The whipped cream to the chocolate.
Whipped cream to the chocolate. To the ganache.
Half of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So fold it until they will be like homogeneous. And so then the last part, or the other half of the cream, then you will just fold it finally. And that's it. And then fold it until they will melt together.
Do you need to cool the ganache down before you add the whipped cream, or can it still be?
You have to wait, not so hot, basically. It's around 50 degrees. How do you say that? Because in the US, you have like...
But I'm Canadian, and I joke that I don't speak American. I'm American now too, but I joke that I don't speak American for temperatures.
It should be the ganache should be at least 35 to 40 degrees.
Okay.
Before you start folding the whipped cream.
Okay.
And that's the optimal temperature. Because if it's too hot, then you will deflate the cream.
Right. And then do you serve it immediately, or is it best to chill it?
It has to be chilled first. At least 15 to 20 minutes in the fridge before serving it.
And then do you just serve it like that? Do you put anything on top? Or
yes, and you can also, like, if you want, you can put some berries on it. Raspberry is the best chocolate accompaniment, so they're a perfect match. If you want to be really fancy, you can get some Oreos. You crush that and put that at the bottom of the glass, and then put the mousse in, and then another layer of the crushed Oreo, and then another layer of mousse. And that's it. Simple as that.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, you could do any kind of cookie crushed in there too. Yeah, no, that sounds fun. Now, you said if you use a different kind of chocolate, the ratio is different?
Yes. For the white chocolate and the milk chocolate, so the ratio would be 1.5 chocolate. I mean, the white and the milk. And then 1 heavy cream and 1 whipped cream. So it's 1.5:1:1.
And you need more of the chocolate because it's not as intensely flavored?
No, it's because mostly the white and the milk chocolate has less fat content compared to the dark chocolate. Also, the white chocolate is more of like, I think there's more sugar in it. So it has that different, it doesn't set that much as the same as with the dark chocolate.
Okay.
So it needs more to get that consistency.
It'll be, so if you used less, I'm guessing it would just be almost like a chocolate flavored whipped cream, not really like a mousse.
Yeah. It's still a little bit heavy, but it won't set like a mousse texture.
Oh,
so, yeah.
I cannot wait to try this. This sounds it sounds too easy, like dangerously easy, right?
It does. It's really easy. Even kids can do it. As I said, you don't need a written recipe on it. Just
Yeah.
put it in your head. It's like 1:1:1.
Yeah, the ratios. My kids are learning to cook this summer, both of them, and so I'm definitely gonna point them in this direction. My daughter, in particular, she loves baking. She does a really nice jelly roll cake. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a bûche de Noël, but not just for Christmas. She does a white one with fruit and things. She's getting very good. She'll love this. Well, Rommel, this has been wonderful. I love the recipe idea and hearing about what you're seeing in Europe in the pastry shops. That's amazing. Can you let people know where they can find you online if they're looking for your dairy-free, gluten-free pastry recipes? Where's the best place to go?
Yeah, they can check out bakefree.net. I put all my recipes there, and mostly they're desserts. There are some breads there as well, but I'm not really an expert with the bread. I'm kind of like a dessert and pastry and cake guy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a certain level of the recipes in there. There's like, advanced but even though they're like long recipes, but it's fully illustrated recipe with the process shots. So they can follow all along, even if they're newbie. I put those so that anyone can follow, regardless of their level of baking. And so there's also some quite easy recipes there, like chocolate truffles and stuff like that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and you have a banana bread ebook, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was so excited with that actually, and I was surprised that for the first day I sold like 10 ebooks.
Oh.
10, yeah. So I just launched it like last month, actually.
Okay.
And the idea behind that book is that I keep seeing these old bananas, the black ugly ones that it's supposed to be thrown out. But actually, you don't have to, because we can make them as a dessert. And also, that's one. But the reason behind why I pushed to make this book is actually one of my readers sent me an email and said, "Can you make a banana bread more exciting?" Yes. I said yes, without hesitation. I said yes. So I started working on this book. So the recipe development took like 3 months, and then 4 months with some editing and the flavor and testings and stuff. So I made the banana cake like kind of glamorous, like French style kind of, but it's still like basic. I mean, the base is still there, but I put some, for example, one of those flavors in there is the banana cake with the peanut butter. So the peanut butter, the way I presented it is I use like a vermicelli piping bag.
Okay.
So they are like hairlines on top of the banana bread. And actually, that's one of the favorite flavors I like in that book.
That sounds great. And all the recipes in that book are vegan, is that right?
Yeah, they are vegan because actually you don't have to use I don't use butter in there, basically. So there's no egg as well. You can call it whatever, but the egg and dairy has no place in that recipe anyway. So that's vegan and it's gluten-free.
I will link to the ebook in the show notes for everyone so they can go find it. But also, if they head to bakefree.net, they'll see it right there, right?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rommel. This has been great.
Yeah, I appreciate you inviting me here. It's my pleasure talking to you here.
Thank you.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I do not have the hugest of sweet tooths, but I do love chocolate mousse. And while I have not had a chance to try Rommel's recipe because I have been traveling, but I did get to have some chocolate mousse, white chocolate mousse. In fact, while in Toronto at the CN Tower restaurant up there, the revolving restaurant called 360, it was lovely. And I was thinking about Rommel and his recipe while I was up there swirling above the city. So make sure you check out Rommel's website, bakefree.net, and grab his banana bread cookbook while you're there. So I do not have a lot of cooking planned this week to tell you about here. So maybe I'll tell you a little bit more about that restaurant, 360 at the top of the CN Tower. It's a revolving restaurant. It gives you a beautiful view all the way around Lake Ontario, downtown Toronto. You can be up there for sunset and see the twinkling lights. It is a fine dining restaurant and it's kind of pricey, but I have been there many times, and the reason is because it's kind of a weird deal. So you have a minimum price that you have to spend at the restaurant, and it's $75 per person. That's Canadian, and that gets you their prefix 2-course menu. So you would get an appetizer and a main course for that. Now, that can sound like a lot, but included in that, you actually get to go to the restaurant at the top, the revolving restaurant, and have your dinner up there. And you still get to go to the observation deck where the glass floor is and see the views from there. And what you need to know is that if you're not having the dinner and you just want to go up the CN Tower to the observation deck, it costs around $50 a person to do that. So if you're having the dinner at $75 per person, it's kind of like it's just like $25 a person more, and then you get that dinner experience with the prefix. It's really good food, great service, and wonderful views. A very special thing to do. When I used to live in Toronto, the reason that I've been to that restaurant so many times is because if I had friends visiting who wanted to go up the CN Tower, I would always suggest it as an option. Like, oh, if we're going to go up there, here's the price. We could do this for a little bit more. Are you interested? And they almost always said yes. And I think they always had a wonderful time. I know I always did. So if you're going to Toronto and you're going to go up the CN Tower, have a look at that restaurant, see if you can make a reservation. I think it's worth it for sure. So yeah, I said I'm not really doing much cooking this week for the websites, but my son is, Jeremy is in that phase of his summer job, learning my business this summer, where he is learning some recipe testing techniques. So we have chosen a recipe, and I will tell you that it is mac and cheese related, and he's been doing some research on a whole bunch of different mac and cheese recipes and the specific variation that he is working on. And this week he is doing his first rounds of testing. He's going to be making it at least 3 or 4 times. I think it might be more than that, to really get a feel for that recipe development side of things. And I'm excited to try all the versions. So that's the main thing happening in the kitchen. As to what is going live on the websites this week, I have a really simple and delicious air fryer sweet potato recipe. This is for cubed up sweet potatoes, not a whole one. And they turn out so nice, and they're soft inside, a little bit crisp at the edges, and I have a really nice seasoning blend on those as well. And then also this week going live, I'm so excited about this. It is pickle brined chicken wings. These are wings that you soak in a mixture of dill pickle brine with a little bit of baking powder added to them. They get all that like salty, dilly, pickly flavor and really brown and crispy skin. They're really incredible. That is going live this week as well. As to what I am telling you about this week, I don't have the full plan done yet, which is very strange for me. I know I usually do. I do see that the pickle brine wings are on the schedule and the air fryer sweet potatoes, and I think I'm going to be doing a couple of episodes about chicken thighs. A delicious, incredible chicken thigh marinade, and my favorite way to grill chicken thighs too. So much to look forward to. Make sure you are subscribed to this podcast so that you don't miss any of those episodes. A new one every day, a recipe to inspire you, help you figure out what to make that day, and you learn some tips and tricks along the way as well. Make sure you are subscribed. Go to your favorite podcast app, if that is Apple Podcasts or Spotify, whatever you listen to podcasts on. Go on your phone and search for Recipe of the Day, and then tap on subscribe or follow there, and you won't miss anything. Always great ideas. I want to say a big thank you to Rommel Reyes for being a great guest. Make sure you go and visit his site, bakefree.net, and check out that banana bread ebook. And a big thank you to you for listening. I'm Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, the all-new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great weekend. Let's get cooking.